So I'm Rowan Cockett. I work a lot with Adam and with Doug. So I'm a PhD student at UBC, and I'm also the CTO at 3 Point Science, which is a startup in Calgary. And Adam wanted me to show some of the stuff that we're working on. So we do 3D interactive graphics. This is all in a web browser, and so this is like one of the sides and the hats that I wear when I do these sort of things of like visualizing and communicating information. Another piece of work that I've done over the past few years that I want to tell you a tiny bit about just because of the motivations there is an interactive geologic modeling tool that's online where you could sort of add your own folding events and sort of explore it by taking cross sections. And so this is really sort of aimed at introductory geoscience students. So that's comes back to sort of my first introduction to structural geology, which was at U of C downstairs. And the professor started the entire course saying structural geology is hard because it involves 3D visualization, and some of you will get it and some of you will not. And that was unfortunately true. Because so there was this bimodal distribution of the grades, and it was sort of the tools that we used to visualize and interact with the structural geology. So we used maps and stereo nets, and these are sort of abstractions, and you really want to be working in 3 dimensions and seeing all of this and interacting with it in real time. And so that's what I just showed you, something that I was working on for a long time, and it sort of, instead of parachuting into a field area and interpreting backwards in the inverse sense, and trying to figure out what happened there, the students can work in the forward modeling sense. And so this is something that has seen a lot of use over the past few years, but really it's trying to change that bimodal distribution by providing people tools to actually see and visualize and explore those things. And so this is sort of when I came to UBC. So these were the mindsets that I sort of parachuted into the geophysics community, and all of the problems were solved in my sort of head, and like I was just there as a student trying to figure out how to put them together, because a lot of the development and this is just due to the history of the geophysical methods, they're all in silos. And where we sort of are right now is exploring this idea of how do we sort of put these together? How do we take disparate data sets and combine them to get a better, more informed model of the Earth so that we can make a better decision? And so I think the solution sort of look that, but that's doesn't mean anything. So that's like this big question mark of we need the constraints of all of the different people who are the users of geophysics and the developers of geophysics to like come together and do something together, to collaborate. And so this is what I did. So this is a class diagram of SimPEG, so all of everything that I've been doing. So this is like 250,000 lines of code that I wrote, and then everyone else has also been writing code. But we didn't like write all of that 250,000 line of code down. We sort of pared it down and tried to make something that makes sense, because there's a lot of redundancies in there. And so you want to structure it and organize. And so that's what we've been doing over the past 4 years, is trying to organize and think about these frameworks. So I think this is a similar story, and some of the things Lindsay was saying is a student can't necessarily see the image that Doug sees in his head when he sees this equation. That doesn't mean anything, and this certainly means absolutely nothing, except to me, because that's what I do my real work on. And so, like, I think something like this is the idea of where we might want to go. And so we've thought a lot, not just about like how this framework might work, but a lot of the pieces and how to sort of motivate collaborations internally to our group. And so that's something that we want to share about how we're working on problems, and sort of the ways in which to spark collaborations and sort of look internally to the processes that we use, both in coding and sort of doing papers and things like that, to work together. And so we don't have the solution, like SimPEG doesn't do everything. So this is really what I'm excited and teamed up with Lindsay and Doug and Adam to do this VERS conference and like to look at this box and like look at that question mark, talk about terminology, get on the same page, and move forward as a community. So I'm excited. Thank you very much.